This video is brought to you by patreon.com/worsttake. Get access to exclusive live streams and Discord servers, on-screen shoutouts, and early access to some videos when you join now. Help make sure that we can continue to make content like this by supporting the Patreon. Links are in the description down below.
Fun fact, Greg Newsome was the last first-round pick that the Browns selected. Greg Newsome, the guy who just got his fifth-year option. Another fun fact on top of that, that means we won't deal with a fifth-year option for like another 5 years unless we trade for somebody who has their fifth-year option, and that is more likely. But yeah, that's where the Browns have been with the draft. They have not had a first-round pick and not used a first-round pick since Greg Newsome, and I believe that was in 2021. That being said, the Browns have been able to add first-round quality players late in the draft. We already talked about DeJuan Jones and how important it is that the Browns can still add elite talent despite not having first round picks. Like, that's one of the things that can make you survive a situation like that. You look at the 49ers, they were able to do the same exact thing with the Trey Lance trade, and they survived it despite not coming out on the right side of that trade. And whether the Browns end up on the right side or the wrong side of the Watson trade is besides the point. The question is, will you be able to stay young, revitalize your talent despite the fact that you traded that many draft picks? And that's where Martin Emerson comes to mind, because he is the crown jewel of what the Browns have been able to accomplish in the draft despite not having a first round pick. Because despite him being a third round pick, I have him significantly ahead of their last first round pick. And it's not like I think Greg Newsome is a bust or anything. I just think Martin Emerson is that damn good. Have Martin Emerson rated here at number 9. I think he's one of the best playmakers on a defense that is just disgustingly full of playmakers all around it. This is a guy who had 15 pass play stops. Teams tried to test him deep with an average depth of target of 12.7, and he still forced 13 incompletions. And this is why it's important to have the context of Martin Emerson's numbers and his pass stops and his forced incompletion numbers, because when Martin Emerson gets one of those stats, when he gets a pass play stop, when he gets a forced incompletion, when he gets one of his 9 pass breakups or one of his 4 interceptions, those are on massive momentum swing plays, right? Where the team that's playing the Browns think they have something down the field and Martin Emerson kills it. Like, the impact of those stops runs so much deeper than what the stats would suggest on it, right? Like, it is a momentum thing with Martin Emerson. Like, he's kind of the backbreaker of the Cleveland Browns offense. I mean, not offense, defense. Now, let's get a better picture of Martin Emerson and who he is as a corner and break down the film. All right, let's get this film breakdown with Martin Emerson. We're going to show you some clips of Martin. The thing I think that puts him over the top when it comes to him versus Greg Newsome is a couple of things. One, I think when it comes to Martin, he has more ways to win as a corner than Greg Newsome does. It doesn't mean Greg Newsome doesn't have a lot of ways to win. I just think he has more ways to win, right? We're going to see that Martin is somebody who can win despite not being the corner with the best long speed. I think you're going to see a corner who can win with his length, with his physicality, with his quickness, with good eyes, and with good ball tracking. He can win. And I think all of those things combine to make a good corner. Now, it is worth saying, I think Martin Emerson, and this still like is weird to say with the Browns, because I remember what it was 10 years ago. I have not seen a corner put in a better position to succeed than Martin Emerson.
the Browns are in a position for a guy like him to succeed tremendously because they have support not only on the defensive line that gets under talked about when we talk about what helps a secondary be great. It's great when you can have Myles Garrett wanting quarterbacks to get rid of the ball in under 3 seconds. Then you have athletic linebackers and a ton of safeties, and then you obviously have Denzel Ward and Greg Newsome. All of those things combined to plug in Martin Emerson beautifully in this defense, right? Because all Martin Emerson is asked to do is be a big corner. Sometimes you run into issues with bigger corners where teams start to ask them to do other things that bigger corners just ain't gonna be that good at. But that's not what they do with Martin. Let's look at the video. Let's look at the tape. Let's get it going. This is Martin in an off coverage look. And he has number 0. So it's Calvin Ridley at the bottom of the screen. Now, what I like about what Martin's doing is he's being where he's supposed to be, right? He trusts that Ronnie Hickman is going to come down if this is a cross or a backside dig. He's going to come down and make a play on it. He doesn't necessarily have to abandon his zone. The reason he doesn't want to abandon his zone is that Travis Etienne is in the flat. And right now, Grant Delpit has him in the flat. But if the Jaguars decided that they wanted to run a dig, right, to clear out, and then if that dig isn't there, they're going to do a double move with ETN to put him on an island if he carries this deep corner on the left side. Well, if the deep corner on the left side carries the dig, right, so that means run with him, then you have a one-on-one in a bad situation. You basically have Grant Delpit, what I like to call stemmed up, right? I'll call a defender stemmed up if they're covering a receiver and the receiver is in prime position to set up and he has every branch of the route tree available to him. That's stemmed up. There's nothing you can do to beat that. Like once you get stemmed up, there's no corner that's going to be getting stemmed up. A lot of corners can avoid getting stemmed up, but sometimes the play call makes it so that you get stemmed up. And right now, Grant Delpit is stemmed up, and Martin is where he's supposed to be. That if he does get stemmed up, Martin can come help him out and pick him up. But what makes this play even more remarkable is that Martin does a great job of catching this football and getting an interception. It's a bad ball, like no doubt about it. It's a bad ball by Trevor Lawrence. He threw this thing early because Myles Garrett was coming down his throat. And again, that makes sense. He threw this early because Myles Garrett is about to knock him out. So he didn't wait for this play to develop. He threw it kind of right at the earliest point he could throw it, and it wasn't an accurate throw because, again, he didn't have much space to plant. And he was throwing on a hurt ankle as well. This is a inaccurate pass. Even if it's accurate, I trust that the Browns are going to be able to be in a situation to make a play on it. And also, Martin does a good job of capitalizing on it because not everybody makes that play on an errant throw. And this is a tremendous play that Martin makes. He has really good hands for a corner and a really good ability to track the football as a corner. I think that's something that we should pay attention to. I think he demonstrated that a lot in this game. So there's that. All right, this one right here, he's in off coverage. I think he does a great job with his hips here. So watch him at the top, this mirror, right? He works with the hezzy move, right? This wide receiver tries to throw him a little hezzy right here, right? Right? He works with it. He doesn't bite, but he sticks with it. So he kind of sinks with him, right? He does a good job syncing with this wide receiver. So hip turn, hip turn, hip turn. He plants that foot and he keeps rolling with them. And then once the ball is in the air, what I find the most impressive is that once the ball is in the air, Martin does an excellent job of tracking this ball. Look at this job tracking. He runs back, tracks this thing over the shoulder like he Willie Mays. Look at that. That is incredible. So one, he doesn't even get beat in this situation, right? Which is a tough spot to be in. But Martin does a good job of figuring out what they're running at him.
And then he tracks this football like Ichiro Suzuki and catches it. Incredible. Incredible stuff there. Like, you don't see that from corners. Very, like, the type of interceptions that Martin Emerson is able to get, very uncommon for corners. Very uncommon for corners to be able to achieve. All right, let's continue. And Martin again in off coverage. Top of your screen. And then he does a great job crashing down, right? You want to see that you want to see that ability to move quickly. Martin, I think he runs like a 4.5. I don't think he's a 4.4 or 4.3 guy, which is slower for a corner. So you got to have a way to recover from it. And where Martin does a good job of recovering is that he's not the long speed guy, right? But what he can do is make up a lot of ground in a little time in smaller distances. Yeah, you can look at Martin Emerson's combine numbers, right? His measurables from when he got drafted. His 40-yard dash is in the 35th percentile, which is not very impressive. He ran a 4.53 for players at his position. But where he does have a much more impressive score is his 10-yard split, which is in the 69th percentile of all drafted DBs or all DB prospects to enter the league, which that makes him somebody who can recover quickly, right? And sometimes it's not about how fast you are, it's about how quick you can recover. And that's the thing with Martin Emerson. He's a good recovery guy as well, which makes him very useful. I think we talked about this with Greg Newsome, where Greg has really good long speed, but he doesn't necessarily have the greatest left to right movement, right? Like if you get Greg Newsome going lateral, you can run away from Greg Newsome. And the same is probably true for Martin Emerson. He doesn't get tested in those directions the same way that Greg does. So he's in a more fortunate position, but he does have that length available to him. And it's nice that he has quickness there too. It's not all world quickness, but it's quick enough where he can get away with running a 4.53 at the corner position. Yeah, watch him crash down on this play. And again, it's the play recognition. He's a really smart corner too. I think that goes underrated. He's a smart corner. Like he really is cerebral, right? I think we look at Martin Emerson, just see the length and the strength and think he just be bullying guys out there. Nah, he's thinking. Like he's a cerebral assassin. Right here in man coverage. Now, this is what we're all kind of used to seeing Martin Emerson do, right? This is that man physical, I'ma just Debo that ball from you real quick type thing that he does. And look, he's more than capable of doing that. We can go back into the San Francisco game and have more examples of him doing that, right? So if you go here, this is a slant route that they have Debo on, and you see that Martin does a good job just Deboing that football from Debo. He Debo, right? He's more than capable of that, but that's not all he is, right? Another situation here where he's in run. And again, just a good job of recognizing the play, getting in the right position and taking a good angle. And look how he evades this block by George Kittle. And George is one of the better run blocking tight ends out there, right? Good job there, absorbing the stiff arm and giving you that. And even when he gets beat, because he does get beat here, right? So off coverage, look here. Brandon Ayuk gets him, and he's going to get to stem him, right? Stem, right there. He's able to set him up. Woo, Brandon Ayuk, quick as hell. He's able to stem him up. Sorry about that. But he's able to stem him up right here, right? He can set him up and go any way that he wants in his route tree, which is open to him. And Martin is most certainly in a position where he cannot really win here in a great area. So what does he do? He tracks the ball, gets an interception, right? And again, needed the bad throw for that interception to be completed. But catching this ball because it's overthrown this much is difficult, right? And I think he does a great job of tracking it. Talk about multiple different ways to win because, yeah, you might lose the route because you're in a situation where you're not going to win that route. But you can win the rep
different ways. And when you have the Browns defense, and by the way, this is the second time we looked at an interception, and look who's there. Look, 95 is there, making the quarterback very uncomfortable. So the ball is thrown off. There's something to note, but Martin's there. Good eyes, good hands, good catch, good interception. But that's Martin Emerson. It's a film breakdown on him. Let's get back to the video.
Martin Emerson is a great player for the Browns to have. It is amazing that he has already reached top 10 status on a team that is this good. And I think Browns fans should be excited about the future of Martin Emerson. But y'all have a great day. Have an even better night. Peace.